It was available game one and they did.
Yeah, well, I think the Orianna is exactly the right adaptation here for top because, I mean, we said it in game one, they banned away the Orianna as soon as the Cinder was taken off the board. Now you take away two of Nemesis's most comfortable champions in the mid lane. Of course, Knight is going to be able to lane into virtually anything on this Orianna. But now we get to see Rekkles go back to the Jhin. And with the Jhin, they like pairing, you know, more aggressive supports alongside it. When you have the free CC from Jin's W early on in the laning phase, we could see the Rakan run once more as a very strong bot lane 2v2.
Well, do they lock it in right now? Reminder that Hylissang's Rakan, 35 wins, 11 losses all time. That is his personal record on the champion. They're not going to go for the Rakan hard CC right now. It will be the Ornn instead, but it still does all those things you just described, right?
Yeah.
For the Forge Guard, you get the knockups as well. If it is comboed with the likes of a Rakan or another hard engaged support, will give them some options. So we know where Ornn is going, and now what does 369 potentially want to run into it?
Well, I mean, he has some options. You know, does he want to go to the Gangplank one more time? I think would be a fine choice for him, but we also saw how in a lot of those fights, yes, his ultimate is strong, but he wasn't able to get in range to do a lot with those barrels. So instead it's going to be the Scion, and I think this is the right move as well for top after realizing how both two games have been completely about the bottom lane. Fighting around bot side early, draft some, you know, dumb tanks in the top lane and bring them down there to just be meaty front lines for your team.
I love that, dumb tanks in the top lane. I love the fact that Scion as well, with the unstoppable onslaught, can like taxi his way into that bottom lane. If he still has TP, can go all the way back up. JackeyLove will be running the Ezreal this time round. Game number 2, I think it was, game number 1, wasn't able to have an influence as Rekkles multiple times was able to lock him down in lane with the help of Hylissang. And there's going to be the Rakan hover, and it is locked in. So, Ornn for Bwipo, Rakan for Hylissang.
All right, I mean, this is great news for Fnatic fans seeing that Rakan come in early. But I also think, if you know JackeyLove, you know his Ezreal, game 1 was not indicative of his skill on this. He looked shaky in game 1, losing the 2v2s in the bot lane, Arcane shifting forward way too aggressively in the face, and then immediately getting locked down by Hylissang. So he must regather himself, regroup coming into this game 3, because there can be no more mistakes for top.
JackeyLove is, you know, 3 best of 5s away from joining a very elite club of potential players to win multiple world championships. And based on pre-tournament expectations, based on expectations for top esports, JackeyLove wanted to make a campaign to make it to finals. And he needs to perform at a higher level because Hylissang and Rekkles have every game this series been the better duo in the straight-up 2v2s. Fnatic as a team, 8 out of 8 games at Worlds have picked up first blood. And this series, both of them were onto the bottom lane. We're into phase 2 bans. Akali, Yuumi, Bard, once again removed. They do not want Yuyanja running that Yuumi or Bard with Ezreal.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the right call here. Bard 2 can be pretty troublesome for both the Jhin and the Ornn as well, from long range, locking them down so they can't really utilize their ultimates to the full extent. Kindred Ban finally will pop in from top side. They're going to leave the Hecarim open, but I'm not super concerned about a Hecarim in this game. I think Hecarim works really well when paired with like the Shen and the Orianna, and we would see that a lot from Selfmade, but just blindly going for that one, I would be more surprised about.
So what do they then lock in for the mid
Whoa!
lane? Vel'Koz into Orianna. We saw that in Dumb One versus DRX, the counter pick. And this is something that we expect from Nemesis. Control Mage is something that we really believe in his abilities.
Look, Control Mage's scaling picks, if you don't follow the LEC, this guy plays stuff like the Veigar in the mid lane, the hard scaling type of champions. And the theory here of a Vel'Koz is the long range to counter out the Orianna. You know, she can't hit you if she can never get in range of you, right? And that's where the Vel'Koz is going to be very powerful, paired up with the long range of a Jhin, the Ornn, the Rakan to lock players in place. There is a very powerful team fight here when all the pieces are working together in perfect unison from Fnatic.
Well, talk to me about the Lee Sin lock-in now for Kai'Sa. It is a champion that has been heavily discussed here at Worlds, and it'll be the Karma to round it out, and finally we'll see if Hecarim gets locked in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the early game pressure from this Lee Sin to try and make plays happen with the Karma in the bot lane too. You're looking for priority versus the Rakan. They knew the Rakan was going to come through. They were prepared to lock in the Karma next to that Ezreal to have that early game pressure. Maybe be able to use that on the map, but it's going to be Selfmade's Kha'Zix. No stranger to this champion either. But while the rest of the team is going to be firing, you know, bullets and, you know, laser beams from a million miles away. It's going to be this Kha'Zix trying to get into the backline against a lot of squishy players and not a lot of reliable immediate CC from top.
Man, when you think about the Vel'Koz and the Jhin wanting to plant their feet with the Lifeform disintegration rate, with the curtain call, as long as Hylissang and Bwipo can keep people away from them, then Selfmade can run amok. However, there's a lot of mobility on the side of top esports, movement speed as well. It comes down to this, what could be the last game for top esports, and for Fnatic, an exceptional performance. Every member of the team working in unison. Fnatic may be able to pull off the surprise win here in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic are doing everything to make sure they can come out on top of this one. And for Reckless in particular, you look back from his story from losing to JackeyLove in 2018, and since that moment, he has known nothing but second place, but runner-up, and now he has the chance to reverse the course of history and knock down JackeyLove in Game 3.
Just before we get started, you know the last time a European team beat a Chinese team in a best-of-5 was the quarterfinals before that final in 2018. It was Fnatic taking down EDG 3-1 and G2 beating RNG 3-2. Since then, China has won 4 best-of-5s in a row, with 2 of them being world finals. And for Fnatic, they'll need to do it again next week if they win the series and then set themselves up with a Suning semi-final. And as a side note, Fnatic are looking for the all-LPL kill. By transitive properties, if they can do it, they will have had a hand in eliminating all 4 LPL representatives.
Well, we'll see if they can. But already Top have completely changed their style in the draft phase. They realize they lost the bot lane 2 games in a row, so what do? They get you an Ezreal and a Karma. There's no way you're losing push pressure at level 1. The Mantra Q, completely unfair to deal with, especially with this Rakan. So it would be up to teleports from a Bwipo or pressure from a Selfmade to try and turn the course of this bottom lane, but I don't expect that to be the way for Fnatic. With the Kha'Zix in the jungle, I'm looking to see Selfmade clear it a little bit more, slow things down a bit, because Fnatic scaling is very, very deadly. I think their team fight is hard to execute on, but when executed well, almost unbeatable. And the lack of immediate CC from top is what's going to be a problem for them when there's a Rakan and, you know, a Kha'Zix diving into your backline.
It's going to be up to Fnatic to find those avenues, use vision to their advantage. They've been able to do it thus far, but when you see how much pressure Reckless and Hylissang are under, 12 CS to 3, they're under their tower already, you expect this into an Ezreal Karma. And I am going to go back to something you said during draft, and JackeyLove's Ezreal that we saw earlier was an anomaly. And I agree with that. You know, JackeyLove, one of the best bot laners in the world, has already taken down Reckless in a world final just 2 years ago. And he needs to find the positioning and the ability this game to keep the hopes alive, because for top, the only way to a semi-final showdown with Suning is a reverse sweep, and it is a tall task based on what we've seen in the 2 previous games.
And it will come a lot through the early pressure of this bot lane, because I think that as far as early game planning goes from top, you can see Knight is already getting priority in the mid lane, but ideally, JackeyLove and Yanja are able to chunk out Reckless and Hylissang in the bot lane. You can already see Reckless prepared for this. He went for the Boots 4-pot start, so has a lot of sustain options, but you would likely be looking for top to maybe set up a dive around the bottom side of the map. If you can get Reckless under that 50% threshold where dives are going to be oh so easy, but doesn't seem like they've been able to layer down too much damage so far, and that's going to mean a very quiet game as all 3 Fnatic lanes play quite passively.
And I love the fact that in Game 2, Top Esports recognized the bottom threats, and they were willing to teleport very early. They were able to jump in. Selfmade this time around, going to try and help out. Bwipo's going to leap forward, immediately gets the flash from 369, so successful gank. The wave is pushing towards 369, so I'll keep my eyes on Cars's pathing as he's going to clear out the Scuttle Crab in the top half. And
top lane gank, what's that?
Yep.
Never seen that in a Fnatic game before here, as Bwipo gets a little bit of early attention from his jungler. Carson was able to find both Scuttle Crabs, which is a nice start for him, and he's now going to pop up, I think, to look for a gank himself, placing that ward in the Tribush for the quick little loop around, and Bwipo, half HP low on mana. This gank is doable.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The minion wave will make its way to the tower. Volcanic Rupture comes up. That's a slow onto Bwipo. Sonic Wave connects, as well as the Tempest, the Cripple, the Resonating Strike, the Flash away, and Bwipo escapes with his life, but Summoner Spell traded and it will be able for 369 will be able to pick up all that farm under his tower.
Yeah, the awkward thing is that ultimately flashes in top lane aren't going to matter a whole lot, especially because, you know, it looks like, oh no, Bwipo's actually going to use his teleport, so not looking for any sort of early bot lane play, but regardless would mean that if you send pressure towards the top side of the map, you're losing out on a dragon. Your bot lane also gives up a lot of pressure, so it would be ill-advised, I think, for Karsa to spend too much time around the top side of the map, especially with Selfmade coming off of the reset, because you can already see a discrepancy in the early items because Karsa went for that gank in the top lane after the full clear. He's now sort of stuck in his jungle, clearing it one more time while Selfmade already has the red smite, which is always going to give him the edge if those junglers ever meet in the lane.
A little knock up there onto Yanja, some very good damage from Reckless and Heslang. They are down 10 CS, there's a few minions in front of them, but it's still big advantage to Jacula from the laning phase. I want to zoom out and just talk about that Lee Sin for a brief moment. It is one of the picks that frankly has been divisive, right? And I think if you have the ability on Lee Sin to make those impacts, then okay, you can silence any critics. But when I can contrast that to what a Kha'Zix can do and the utility that he'll have with the stealth, with the evolved spikes slowing people down, you know, what do you make of this pick in what could be Top Esports' final game of the tournament?
Well, Lee Sin is always going to be one of the strongest skirmishing junglers in the game. You know, his base values are insane. Once he has his ultimate in a warrior, he can actually one-shot a lot of squishies or, you know, take them down to like 85, 90% HP. So he's always going to be powerful in these situations. The concern comes in, well, can you actually make use of that? Is Reckless taken low?
Below 50 HP! Will survive just long enough, held on to summon a heal. I would have hit that button for sure. But Reckless respecting it and walking away. Trade of ignites from both supports.
Yeah, really nicely done down to the bottom side. Reckless has his heal, and it doesn't look like Karsa's going to commit to the dive. I was wondering, does he want to get around towards this bottom lane, but will not pull the trigger on that. You can see Selfmade immediately pathing bot side. This is not how Selfmade usually paths. Usually he sees his red buff coming up, he's up there. Instead, though, his bot lane's in trouble. He knows the value he can offer to keeping his bot lane alive, and he's going to play around that area.
So important to call out that this time around, Jackie Love and Yanja are bouncing back. The Karma pick has worked out for the first 6 minutes of gameplay. Karsa is waiting in the wings. The Sonic Wave didn't find his target though. Summon a heal used, and Jackie Love continues to chase. Reckless down to 150 HP. Here comes Selfmade. Look in the river. Nemesis and Knight, they are chasing. And Top Esports will start to back away.
It's a win for Fnatic whenever it slows down, right? All the potions gone in bot lane. They're just trying to stain on through as best they can. They're losing it.
Ooh, first blood picked up by Top for the first game at Worlds 2020. Fnatic do not secure it. And Bwipo was just bounced sky high by 369.
Well, not having the flash ended up mattering right there for Bwipo. Will fall down, lose platings too. He used his teleport earlier in the lane phase as well. So 369 on this Scion with a Sheen first purchase. Backing a little bit more punch than expected.
That means Bwipo goes down. He's already 15 CS behind. He's a level down as well. Lost some plates. Well, that's going on. 10 CS advantage to Knight in the middle lane. And I believe that Jackie Love has got a few minions to clean up in front of him. So Top Esports, straight out the gate, 1,000 gold up with first blood in their hands.
Oh, I love this. Karsa over the wall, has his ultimate, wants to find Selfmade here. Oh.
Gonna wait for the leap, gonna wait for the leap. Jumps over, manages to get caught by the shockwave as well. Selfmade is down. Top Esports hunting and killing Fnatic.
That was just beautiful. Karsa waiting on the side, roaming with Yanja. The combination of his ult with Knight shockwave locks down Selfmade. Selfmade doesn't even get a chance to flash out of that. Perfect.
And playing with vision again. This is something we've seen demonstrated really, really cleanly from the LPL teams over yesterday's BO5 and today's. 1 kill secured for Karsa on the Lee Sin. 1 kill for 369 Scion, who, by the way, has an Iceborne Gauntlet. And despite the fact that Nemesis has thrown out that lifeform disintegration rate, it's just for some level of presence and control. Push that wave out. He used his teleport a few minutes earlier, and it is Knight who's currently sitting comfortable, catching that wave and happy to back away.
It's just really good play there from Top. Selfmade isn't able to find the red buff, is getting shut down a little bit here on the bottom side of the map, and a dive would be difficult. It does feel like he has his flash if they wanted to go for it, but the level 6 come through. You likely have to wait for Nemesis, but here they're just going to go.
Engage into the root. Hellissang will get taken up by the tower as well as the minion. They trade 1 for 1. Jackie Love picks up the kill, but here comes Nemesis. Remember, no lifeform disintegration rate. Selfmade's going to stealth up. The curtain is called. Jackie Love hasn't arcane shifted yet. Finally does under the tower. Leap forward from Selfmade. Nemesis is tanking it up. and Nemesis gets the kill. 2 back for Fnatic.
Fnatic continue to target JackeyLove in this bottom lane, and they make the dive work. Hylissang sacrifices his life to remove the support, knowing that Nemesis would eventually come, and they will be able to finish off that kill. At the same time, though, the story of this series, it's Karsa on the top side, taking a Rift Herald, focusing on these objectives as bot lane continues to bleed.
Can Fnatic find more of these picks? They are still down multiple lanes. This is a replay again. Focus on Hilly. He tanks it all up, but then once Nemesis comes in, they clean up.
I mean, it is bold on that Rakan, knowing almost certainly he was going to die. Tried to flash out there and almost survive it, but of course, the Nemesis on the way. A little bit too much to deal with. Reckless able to land a whole lot of his bullets here. That's 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Finishes off right there as Nemesis is able to finish off the kill. And now we're seeing Nemesis get involved in the bot lane. You love to see that because the first 2 games he was just locked inside of mid, and now he has the GLP with the Glacial Augment as well. So it's very easy for him to search out and look for that CC to set up for his team.
I think it's so important to call out that for Reckless taking on JackeyLove, that matchup that's a few years in the making, Fnatic have just targeted the bottom lane over and over. This game round, however, 369 is really stamping an authority. Plus 20 CS, and this tower's at risk.
And check this out too, because Karsa and Knight are on the way. They can drop the Herald to instantly destroy this tower. That means the dive will be easy, or just straight up go for it dry.
Call of the Forge God is available for Bwipo. They have not used the Rift Herald yet. Teleport not available for Nemesis. Hylissang and Reckless left alone in the lane. That's because Yuanji and JackeyLove, they've now moved towards the mid lane. Keep your eyes on Karsa. He can come in behind Nemesis.
Yeah, well, it was a good play. Oh, Bwipo can use the ultimate to try and clear the way, but here's the dive.
Out. Bellows Breath will clear out the last. Flashes away from the knock-up, and the tower still stands. Karsa is still holding onto the Rift Herald.
It's really crazy right now, because Reckless, of course, is pushing in the bot lane. Selfmade was hiding inside of Top's jungle, waiting to see, does someone walk in here? Can I get the burst damage down and knock them out? Because both junglers with the Warriors complete, they want to fight, they want to start scrapping immediately.
Nemesis is trying to bait here. He manages to tag the Plasma Fission onto JackeyLove. But look at the top lane. Karsa's still not summoned the Herald. Knight is the man standing to help take out the tower. Rift Herald's still available for top Esports, and once the tower falls, it's a 1,700 gold lead.
You know, it's rare you see patience on the Herald usage right there, but I think it's absolutely the right call from Karsa, holding on to that for a later push. Potentially around the middle lane.
There goes the life form disintegration ray. True Shot Barrage tags onto Nemesis.
Nemesis is baiting so hard for this one. Is Karsa top?
He's going to be able to land the kick. There's no flash available. That's the flash kick. In fact, Shockwave comes out as well, and Bwipo will go down. The Herald was then summoned. While that's going on, Selfmade looking for a kill into Yanja. No support from Nemesis. Fnatic concede 2. And top Esports may get themselves another tower.
That looked real desperate from Fnatic. Nemesis had no mana, so he was trying to, get back to base somehow, and Selfmade sees support, tries to kill it, but JackeyLove did not go back, so he shows up there. Knight's also going to find the turret in the top lane, and there's still a Rift Herald for Karsa. They got 2 turrets top lane without using that. He's going to drop that in mid as it times out, but now Bwipo's on the TP.
All right, now what can happen? Teleport reply will come out. Yeah, not going to be able to root anyone, and Knight will escape with his life. Now, the smallest of wins is that the teleport was blown. Bwipo did trade his for that, and this was the setup onto Yuanji. Let's see how Selfmade decides to chase.
So Nemesis, of course, chunked out Yuanji a whole lot, and then Selfmade's just probably going to pop the R, jump on forward for this, but... Oh, his Q got canceled! Yuanji walked into the brush, and the Q got canceled. Then Yuanji with the Mantra W gets the big sustain off of that one, so there's no one-shot to be had. That's crazy.
Watch the HP on that renewal. That Mantra W just flying up, and JackeyLove had Summon Heal as well, which he stepped forward to use, also helping out. But after 13 minutes, top Esports are now 2,500 gold up. All of a sudden, Fnatic are starting to look like they're in trouble. 2-1-0 on JackeyLove's Ezreal. Huge advantage in the top lane as both of those towers have been felled. And Bwipo, he is on Ornn, so the value that it'll provide is still going to be there, but there's no room for error on the side of Fnatic as Nemesis is the next target.
Yeah, Karsa once again looking for the bot lane, has the kick.
Well, there we go. Nemesis flashes away. Resonating Strike comes forward, and Karsa easily runs down Nemesis. That was just too simple, too clean, and punishing Nemesis being too far forward.
Complete waste of a flash there on Nemesis, too, flashing towards the top base. He's never going to survive off of that one. Now Hylissang waiting. No, he sees a ward. It looks like he was waiting over the wall for a play, but top continued to find good fights. And this is a very different look. Again, more early game pressure in the jungle, like that Jarvan in this Lee Sin pick, but Karsa is making it work, and they have the gold advantage, too, because in a lot of these games, they've actually been ahead in gold early on, right? But they haven't been able to convert it. This game feels completely different. different because they have the gold lead and they have the pressure on the map.
And I think so crucial to point out that while Top Esports were ahead in both previous games to some degree, it wasn't 4,000 gold as it is this time around. In actual fact, during the group stages, Top Esports had an average gold lead of 1,500. This is blowing that out of the water. You saw the turret plates, how many have been secured? 6 kills to 2. The only saving grace for Fnatic right now is they got the first dragon. It's 30 seconds until the next one, but it looks like Top are setting up to contest and take that.
Yeah, the other thing is in these other games, like Top had one lane that was going really well for them, whether it was Knight in game 1 or 369 in game 2. Now every lane is going well for Top, and Fnatic say, yes, well, Reckless, he got a lot of plate gold in the bot lane playing down there when the map was completely split, but it's just him on this Jhin, and Fnatic will need considerably more time before they're on a level playing field with Top.
And I absolutely love the pivot in draft. That Karma pick has had such a gigantic influence in the flow of the game. It has allowed Jackie Love and Yanja to stem the bleeding of Reckless and Hylissang, and if you look at the top lane, 369 with teleport available, he's still pushing, he hasn't TP'd yet.
Yeah, he can potentially TP into the bot lane, get a flank, he's gonna go straight into the jungle, pump the gas, let's fight!
Alright, Call of the Forge God comes out from Bwipo, we'll get a knockup. Dragon is secured by Fnatic, but at what cost? There goes the engage from 369, and the first victim will be Hylissang. He dashes away and is burning down. 369 gets the kill. It's an Infernal Rift that spawns, and Nemesis is locked up, will be kicked down. Disintegration Ray will not do enough, and Knight gets himself another kill. That's 2 for a teleport and a dragon, and Reckless is running for his life.
Yeah, 369 still on the chase there, Top. Great job fighting around that objective inside the river. It's been a problem for them in the past, but they made it work here, and they're going to get so much of it as well, getting that bot lane turret on top.
Man, that's the 3rd tower secured by Top Esports. And yes, Fnatic, you got the dragon, but man, at what cost?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a huge commitment for them, because you look at the levels, the items, it's all favoring Top in this fight, and Fnatic are completely split as well, right? Selfmade and Whip was sort of escaping towards the north end of that fight, while the backline is stuck down here. Nemesis just pops the ultimate to stay in it. But it is, once again, Top finding this fight, and they have all the power. They need to continue pressing this game forward and trying to find more and more advantages, because with the early lead they have, you see the goals right there. Like, all you have to do is keep going, and Fnatic will not be able to fight back.
Yeah, fantastic turnaround. The pressure could not be any higher, because of course the #1 seed from the LPL Top, they were one of the pre-tournament favorites, and they were just outclassed in game 1 and game 2 by Fnatic. Now, it wasn't a stomping. It was a clear 5-man Fnatic outplaying almost all of the skirmishes in the team fights. This time around, this is a stomping. This is a really, really clear turnaround. It's a slightly different look in the draft, and thus far it's working. 2-0-3 for Casa on that Lee Sin. And just as a small aside, there's a lot of personal stakes here for Casa, because Sword Art is waiting in the semi-final. Casa wants to win this game to face his former teammate. Yeah. A lot of history on the table there. But it is a long, long, long road before he can even taste that.
Yeah, the Flash Wolves reunion would be a fun one to have for sure, but have to do a lot to get there. Now, right now, Fnatic have control over that bot side river. It's sort of been traded around. They'll have pressure around this Dragon Top. They're focused on mid, but with the Herald going down in mid lane, they could deal a lot of damage to Fnatic if they were to head them off the pass.
All right, 369 face plants as he used the Unstoppable Onslaught. Hylissang was able to jump over the wall. The 4th tower for Fnatic falls. Knight flanking from inside the jungle of Fnatic, and Hylissang is going to be forced to jump away. Blastcone sends 369 into his face, and the next tower will fall. That's a 2-tower push.
Exactly, you cut them off from being able to reach that 2nd tower because Fnatic had pushed all the way into the river. Now you can pillage their jungle, take away the blue buff as well.
Fnatic own absolutely nothing. Selfmade picking up the blue buff means it's denied from Nemesis. This is still a win for Top Esports. Now, it's not the end of the world for Selfmade. He will be able to spam some of those W's, but the gold lead is ballooning. Nearly 7,000 gold up. And until Top Esports pick up the Baron, Fnatic do have a relatively good amount of wave clear, relatively good range. It's not the fastest, don't get me wrong on that one, but Top Esports don't give a damn.
Yeah, they have a Sion. Look, they have 369 Sion. He's got shields, heals, everything on top of him. He is a monster. Like, Fnatic do not have the damage to deal with Sion.
Nope.
Nemesis on this Vel'Koz eventually may be able to do something, but that is a long way away, especially because with this Glacial build, he's going for lower AP value items, so it is going to be quite a journey for him to get to that point.
Will not be able to take the tower. No tower secured for Fnatic, and that mountain is climbing, looking more and more like Mount Everest, as Top Esports have got that gigantic lead as we're approaching 20 minutes. It is a minute to go till Infernal. I think Fnatic, they snuck away that Dragon, committed to it very, very quickly. Very clearly were willing to risk their lives for that objective. And I don't know if they want to do that again. The risk is just too great.
It would be quite the throw, I feel. That being said, items have been completed, you know, Twin Shadows and a Duskblade, so they could potentially fight for mid-lane control and play for the tower. I would rather see them trade away the Dragon so they can get the mid-tower, get their jungle camps back, because that's what Fnatic need. They need gold. You know, playing for the Infernal Soul is great eventually, but you can't win a fight right now, down 6 towers to none. They don't have any inner towers left to 20 minutes. That is huge.
Self-Made's gonna hop onto Yanja, gets a lot of damage, but simply not enough to follow it up. Trying to find a pick, trying to find that gold ender, but it is chasing a loss. That's a knockup onto 369 as the rest of Top Esports now start to push the mid lane. 10 seconds, correction, 15 until the Elder comes up. Now the Duskblade damage onto Yanja was high, but it just didn't
Top
matter.
might just go for a Baron. Right now they're sort of chasing down Bwipo. Self-Made's dead for another 10 seconds. And Fnatic, how do they walk into their jungle? This time, Jackie Love can arcane shift forward all he wants. Hylissang is going to have to run away. He cannot turn it around because that's how powerful Top Esports are.
Fnatic, can they push through quickly enough? They're going to go for the Dragon instead. If they can see the Baron, the game may be over before you can get to the Soul. Fnatic, Call of the Forge God comes out from Bwipo, bounce back into the pit. Look at 369 and Knight. They want to contest the Infernal. They are going to arrive in time, and Hylissang is low.
Self-Made's almost here, so he can land the smite, but they need more damage on this objective. Jackie Love sent off the True Shot Barrage. They're going to get that one for free, but the teleport comes in.
It's going to pick up Fnatic. One Dragon away from Soul. The Baron is just about to be secured by Top Esports. Lifeform, Disintegration Ray comes in. That's a kill tonight. And they managed to tag up 369. He's forced to flash away. Goes into zombie mode. Here comes Casa as well as Jackie Love from the mid lane.
What can Jackie Love do?
With a double box, he's jumping on a Bwipo. He's got the damage down. Bwipo gets the knockup. Hylissang follows up. Can't find it though. Defensive flash away. Jackie Love continues to chase. And leap. The resonating strike from Casa. Self-Made packing. And Hylissang escapes with his life. Flash forward from Reckless. Cannot find the kill. Jackie Love stays alive. The shielding from Karma does it. But Fnatic get out.
The fight is absolutely ridiculous. The two-shot barrage looks for Nemesis.
Not gonna be enough.
Almost finishes him off. The absolute cockiness of Top Esports. They lose 2 members at the start of the fight, but they don't care. Jackie Love took it personally, took those 2 losses personally, and got straight back in there to knock down a couple members of Fnatic.
When this Dragon fight started off, I felt that 369 and Knight with the Shockwave combo could have threatened. He held the trigger though, and Fnatic got the Drake.
I mean, Top just being here, it looks completely troll, because there you see the lineup. The full burst damage of Nemesis is able to finish off the Orianna. The Scion also then falls with Bwipo trying to flash in front and make sure he can't escape. But this is where things get really crazy. Again, Jackie Love, absolutely no fear. He's going to arcane shift forward into the thick of things, be forced to flash out of there as Hylissang barely survives. But the Q lands, Karsa gets him, then also the ward hop to juke out the Vel'Koz Q. It is just immaculately played and a miracle that Jackie Love somehow survived.
There is not enough time to say words to explain what is happening. As we come out of the replay, Yanja is dead this time. Self-Made was able to get an assist from Reckless, I believe, who was able to pick that one up. 3 minutes until the Soul is secured. And during the build-up to that teamfight ender, you and I screamed at the same time, what can Jackie Love do? That could be the headline of this entire series. Game 1 and 2, Jackie Love could do nothing. Game 3, 4-1 and 2, Iceborne Gauntlet, Neuromantic completed, and here's a replay of Yanja getting blown.
Yeah, Self-Made just pops on in there. This is what he was looking for in the past, and I think Jhin plus Assassin is a really deadly combination because you have that range CC to follow up off of that. Molten Edge completed, and the Lord Dominic's as well, because he realizes he's going to have to get through a Scion somehow. But what I can tell you about Jackie Love, Trevor, this right here is a positive gaming experience if I've ever seen one.
No doubt about it. Managing to turn the negative experiences of Game 1 and 2 around, and it is still that 7,000 gold lead. But Fnatic are willing to fight until the final Nexus. You can criticize Self-Made's decision-making on some of those picks, but he managed to find one, and Hylissang will cheekily dash away from a decimating smash and then hop over to a teammate to be able to escape with his life for now.
Now, Trevor, the Baron is about to die, and it was dead even for Fnatic. So this is actually, that play favored Fnatic. With all the fights going down, the shutdowns they gained, all they wanted to do was stall out for a potential soul fight. They're down 8,000, 8,000 gold here. That is a big, big disadvantage to hit, especially as the Death Dance comes through from Jackie Love. So it is still expected to be top winning out in these fights, but there are ways for Selfmade to get into the pit, to steal that away, or just wait later on into this game as the Baron won't spawn for another 2.5 minutes. That relieves so much pressure on Fnatic that top won't be able to reapply because there's no objectives for them to play for until that dragon spawns.
Yeah, when you've got 6 towers picked up before 20 minutes even crests the clock, you got to push really far into enemy territory. You really got to play around that Baron exceptionally well. So let's look at the state of the minimap. Deep Vision is being challenged a little bit as Hylissang, Selfmade, Reckless will find themselves 369. True Shot Barrage from Jackie Love and Uyanja coming up. Hylissang
there's a TP into the ball
for
lane.
his life. While that's going on, there's another fray on the right-hand side. Knight jumping onto Nemesis. So what I want to ask you to look at here, Ender, if top are going to contest for this dragon, where are the wards, where are the vision? Because they've got the push, they've got map control, there's no doubt about that.
Well, I don't think Fnatic can actually fight this one, because as we said, Death Dance finished for Ezreal. Yeah. There's also a Spellbinder on Knight. Like, I thought he was teleporting in and maybe going to one-shot Nemesis over the wall. Like, that's the play he was looking for right there. And luckily for Nemesis, there's a control ward over the wall to spot out Knight coming through. But this Orianna hurts. She does so much damage, and Fnatic, without any control on the map, will not be able to walk back into their jungle. So they'll say, in 5 minutes, maybe then we can fight, but right now, absolutely not.
I mean, when you contrast the Spellbinder, Liandry's Torment, Seraph's Embrace versus Hextech, GLP, Twin Shadows, Spooky Ghost, and a Super Soaker. That's what you're dealing with. Now, Hylissang is wearing some blue suede shoes. He has dodged so many skill shots over the last few minutes.
Yeah, they're called Lucidity Boots.
Dancing on the edge of safety and has managed to stay alive. Now, Selfmade, if there was ever a hero moment, sacrifice yourself. Use that Void Assault stealth and steal this away.
Fnatic have double blue trinkets. That's the first one. They have one more left. Selfmade can stealth and hop into the pit.
There's going to be a back away. Top Esports aware of this one.
I don't think they know.
No vision. Not aware of it. Selfmade and Fnatic, they're aware. Look at the cheekiness.
They see him. They blue trinket over the wall.
They absolutely do. He's not going to be able to get in range.
Oh, he just flashed in.
Leap forward. Not going to be able to do it. All of a sudden, Selfmade is the sacrificial bug. While that's going on, Hylissang is taken down. He committed the flash for the play, and 369 wants to win the game. He's running onto Reckless. The True Shot Barrage tags him as well. Reckless forced to use flash, heal, and running away for his life.
Look, it was a commendable attempt from Selfmade to try and get into the pit. Had to flash over the wall, then try to leap in, but the smite comes through from Karsa. They lock it down, get a couple of kills, and that's 15 seconds before the Baron buff spawns. Now, there's no longer those blue trinkets trying to scout out into the pit. Your jungler's going to spawn at the same time the Baron does. This Baron is going to top.
And while Top Esports may be beaten, bloodied, and bruised through the first 2 games, they are not yet ready to give up. We'll be able to secure the second Baron. This will be uncontested from Fnatic. They should extend their gold lead to just shy of 10,000. And with Baron-empowered minions, this beefy Scion, Spirit's Visage, as well as Warmogs, to complement the Iceborne Gauntlet. I mean, he can just tank everyone for days. And then once he's taken damage, back away, regen, and do it all again.
Yeah, 369 is really hard to deal with. That's why, I mean, like, Nemesis does true damage, but not that much, you know, and of course the Lord Dominic's from Reckless was picked up very early to try and deal with it. But you have to look across and you see like level 16 for Knight to level 15 on Nemesis. That's a huge mismatch. 3 level difference in the jungle, right? Like Kozik's supposed to be the champion that scales better, that can farm it up, but he has not been able to access his camps. This is the sort of monumental disadvantage that Fnatic have to go against. It's not just the 9,000 gold, the Baron buff on top of that. It is the levels that have so much inherent value, and no matter how good your flank is from Hylissang, everything must be perfect to even stand a chance.
In game 1, Ender, you called it out that Fnatic sent Hylissang on these roaming missions to look for ganks. Call of the Forge God comes out. This will go on tonight. He's flashed away. Does not get caught by the knockup, but 369 is teleporting in behind. Selfmade is so low. He's forced to hop over the wall. Hylissang will be able to dance over himself, and now all of a sudden Reckless is low. Remember, no flash, no heal. Teleport was committed from 369, and now Top Esports are going to group up.
Yeah, Fnatic used so many ultimates off of that play, though. So yes, they get Knight's flash, but with the Baron, Top Esports, they can run straight into the base. There's nothing Fnatic can do to hold on to their inhibitor tower. It's going to go down, and Top are going to take it.
And they absolutely are. Will they be able to push for more? Call of the Forge God on cooldown, as you've alluded to already. Secondary inhibitor will be focused. Nemesis will catch and kill the top lane minion wave. So that will at least divert and slow down that amount of push. However, Top Esports will easily be able to pick up the second inhibitor. There's no real initiation tools without Hylissang or Bwipo's ultimates, and now Top 369 stepping forward. Blowing up the minion wave. Baron empowered cannon minions. 3 of them.
They want the win.
To chip away on the Nexus Star. Bwipo's going low. What can Jackie Love do? So much damage, as we've already seen. The first Nexus Star falls. Selfmade goes in. Is squashed under the boot of Jackie Love. Knight stays alive long enough as Hylissang runs away. Nemesis is down. The shockwave kills Bwipo. And Reckless can all but watch his Nexus die. Top Esports bounce back in Game 3. That was brutal.
Look, they didn't just bounce back. They slammed Fnatic in that game. It was early game domination, it was mid game domination, and it was a clean close out from them. Jackie Love looked like a completely different player on his Ezreal performance in this game, and the rest of the team followed up behind.
Top Esports Jackie Love is disconnected. IG Jackie Love is reconnected in terms of impact versus Reckless. Obviously a bit of a joke as we've talked so much about that individual matchup, but I think for me, the karma, the Lee Sin, the pivot in drafting strategy is what allowed Top Esports to do this. The Vel'Koz did not work, not impressed. The Rakan into the karma, obviously I think it was the other way around in draft. Yuyanja had such a big impact, and you see how the chips fall apart once Reckless and Hilly can't have that same level.
I mean, it was just the early game pressure, right? In the draft that made it really hard for them to come out on top in those 2 versus 2 fights, and I think, you know, Top just really cleaned it up because the expectations are so insanely high for this team as the #1 seed from the LPL. You can't lose here. That is unacceptable for this team, and now with their backs against the wall, they are taking everything they have to beat Fnatic.
I always put myself into the shoes of the players and the coaching staff, like what does tilt look like? What is anger? What is the emotional state? After a win like that, now you put yourself in Fnatic's shoes and think about it. We're